Hey, gang, appreciate y'all tuning in to today's episode. Hopefully, you're going to like it. We had Tino from All About Archery in. We also showcased some brand new Saltwater Assassin products. So make sure that you guys and gals check it out, give a listen, and enjoy today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning and listening to what's going on up and down the Space Coast. I'm Captain Jim Ross. I'm the host of your show here this morning. We're going to be talking a little bit about fishing and a little bit about some archery and some hunting. Might even throw a little bit of diving in there because we've got a mini season that the state of Florida has given us here on July the 14th. So that's kind of cool. We're going to be able to, get some extra lobster days in under the sportsman season. So that's kind of an interesting thing. But, if you guys and gals want to get involved with the show, we'd love to hear from you. Absolutely love to hear from you. Give us a call right here at our Cocoa studio at Catch a Memory Outdoors, 321-632-1000, and that you can get us right here in our Cocoa studio. We got Tino Villaverde coming in this morning, and Tino,
making a racket.
You have got some kind of a contraption here.
Yep.
That I don't know what it is, but I'm sure
that means you don't get the price.
We're gonna find out all about it, though. I am sure. That is a piece of engineering right there, isn't it? No.
A little bit, yes. And the whole thing would be if somebody calls in this morning and tell us what it is an archery piece of equipment for a shop. They win a green flashlight they can mount on a crossbow or a rifle if they want to.
Oh, that's cool. And so we got a giveaway this morning, huh?
That's correct.
Tino, my special guest this morning, for those of you that have listened to the show before, Tino is the owner of All About Archery down in Melbourne. Oh, now this is really cool. Okay, so you can't kill what you can't see. It's a new archery product. It's a flashlight and stabilizer at the same time. Is that what I'm gathering here?
Yeah, you can put that either. There's two ways. You can put it on a bow, but you can use all the mounts that already comes with to put it on a crossbow as well, as you can see on a Picatinny rail.
I see it's got a Picatinny rail set up. Okay.
Yeah. And it's green. So it's for, those folks that go at night for hogs or crossbows when you go after gators at night as well.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what you can use that for.
Up to 100-yard illumination.
Yes, it's actually
fits
pretty
crossbows
cool.
with Picatinnies or Weaver rails.
Exactly. Yellow Picatinny.
Interesting. Got some vibration dampeners in it. That's pretty doggone neat.
And that's what kind of makes it. It's really,
wow.
It acts as a sound suppressor more than a stabilizer, but it does have some weight to it, of course, just like a stabilizer would.
Yeah, it sure does.
When it comes to stabilizing, the reality of that is the stabilizers are really used on target bows, and they're long. You probably have seen them on an Olympic bows or a
really
competition bow, and that really stabilizes because it puts the shock and the weight way up front. For the hunter, it's more of a sound suppressor.
Gotcha. This is so. But you can mount it on a regular bow as well.
You see, you let me see if that one has the tail.
Yeah.
This is going to be more for a Picatinny rail. There is a thread on the back. You could put
the little threaded adapter, and then thread it right in there.
I think it's meant more for a Picatinny rail, which then would make it more of a crossbow mount, as you can see on that picture there.
Interesting.
So, good morning, America.
Good morning.
Yeah.
So, once again, want to throw the phone number out there if you guys and gals want to give us any calls this morning. 321-632-1000 is our call-in line, and you can get us right here at Catch a Memory. Tino, it's been quite a while since I've had you in the show.
I've been busy, but
you have been doing some extreme archery for compared to what the regular archer out there is going to do. You've been doing extreme archery with these long distance shots. I don't know if you guys follow Tino on social media. Every once in a while he'll post up a little video on his All About Archery page, and you'll see he's shooting 70, 80 yards, 100-yard shots.
way more than what an average guy is shooting. But with a regular bow that Joe Average, like myself and my listeners, would be shooting with. Yeah. So, I have to wonder, is it, obviously you've got the latest and greatest in equipment. You've got an RX-8 from Hoyt, the Redworks 8, which is the newest, latest, greatest. Is it the bow or is it the guy?
It's going to be the shooter, no doubt. You can do it with your bow. Your bow will do. In fact,
as long as you got a compound bow that's dialed in at 20, 30, 40
and
yards,
properly tuned,
you can still hit at 70 or 80.
That video that you watch, it is 70 yards, and you saw the group, 3 arrows on it. You can see that. And that's with my regular hunting arrow. It's not a target arrow or anything like that. That's exactly what it is. So, as long as you tune it up, practice, and it's one thing that everybody can achieve, especially these young guys who are coming on. It has become popular. The youth, and I'm talking about, 20s and 30s. Because I'm not youth anymore. So
guys like you and me are wearing bifocals now because we can't see the pins as good as we could at one point in time.
Don't inform everybody of what's going on, but that is what's going on. I just go blur to blur, and I know where it needs to go. But absolutely. I made it a point now in the past 2 years of attending the Total Archery Challenge. And Total Archery Challenge is a very interesting competition. It's more of really a challenge to yourself. They present a hunting situation. They set up 25 targets. And the last year was at Tennessee, in Tennessee, in the mountains of Tennessee, Winchester. That's where it was. This year they changed it to Delanoga, Georgia. Same thing.
Mountainous.
By the time that you are done with the 25 targets, you will have hiked an average of 6 to 7 miles, and not through flat ground. Sometimes seems like your nose is closer to the dirt and climbing up than it is to standing up. Anyhow, and your shots there, the average shot, there's several courses, depending on your grade and your skill. And but we had to take shots. I think our longest shot that we took on the course, it was 106. And then you have hidden targets. You have trees in the way, bushes in the way, and no less than 50 yards. On these two particular courses, we went to the different people sponsor a course. I happen to have shot the Hoyt course and the Sitka course. And usually the Sitka course is one of the most challenging courses that they put out. Took 3 of my clients, came along
now,
with
Sitka,
it.
This is the same company that makes the camo
clothing.
outerwear.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Leopold puts one out. There's others that put out.
Right.
And so there's usually, put it this way, the attendance is north of 2,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's that many people that want to climb up and down mountains and lose arrows.
Let me tell you how popular it is.
Because that would be me, climbing up and down mountains and losing arrows.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of trees. There's a lot of little spots that get arrow stuck, or they sometimes set targets with a rock background. So if you miss, you're not recovering your arrow. It's going to be a blowout.
Smashing it, yeah.
But it's so much fun. And personally, I do it just for the personal challenge, being the age I am, and I'm still able to do it. So for me, it's just a challenge all the way around.
So, living here in Florida, it's flat.
It's flat.
What are you doing? You're running out to the interstate and jogging up and down the side of the overpass? Where are you getting your elevation training at?
I don't know. I just have it.
Yeah.
I just go there. I don't. The only training I do is the shooting. I get on a tree sometimes, and absolutely, I still practice from a tree. I take quite a few shots, and my wife's kind enough to be my caddy at times, or a friend that comes to shoot with me. But that's about what we do, and it is, it trains you well enough. Look, there's a lot of myth onto things. There's some technique to shooting uphill or downhill on a steep angle.
Yeah.
And if I can give the audience, if anybody interested, a tip is when you draw back your bow, you draw it back just like you would on flat ground. Don't try to aim and then draw back. No, you don't. You go ahead and just draw the bow back, then position yourself to aim for that incline. And as long as the bow is tuned up and your sights decently installed, you got to kind of have a little bit of first, second, third axle adjustments in some of them. As you can see, this sight here is not your just average everyday sight,
Right?
But it is a hunting sight, and there is no lens. Lenses are not allowed on that competition either. It is open sight, and as long as that it is done properly, you should be in good shape. It's not very complicated. I mean, I do all that tuning and all of that for my folks that come in.
So
and they go to these
talking
competitions.
about a lensed sight versus a non-lensed sight.
Well,
Is the lens for you to be able to, like myself?
it's like having a scope on a rifle.
Okay, so it's not for.
It's not for your eyesight.
I have a bifocal.
No,
that I'm
none
starting
of that.
to wear
None
now.
of that. It is. You
It's
still
just
have
like
an
a
open
scope.
peep.
Okay.
And a lens, it can be a 2-power, 4-power, 6-power. So your target's going to look that much closer. That's it.
Now, if you go, let's say a 20-year-old, 25-year-old guy gets a bow and puts a lens in it. Is there a benefit for him to do that, even though he has perfect eyesight? Or
The only benefit is if he competes on ASA or IBO 3D shoots, and the rings are easier to look at. You can, because you have your 12 ring, your 10 ring, your 8 ring, and those lines that are engraved into your targets after 30 yards, very difficult to see.
Yeah, you can't
For
see
me,
them.
I can't see them.
yeah, like on the side of a deer or the side of a turkey or especially like some of the
especially
dark
a black
a
target.
hog
like
or
the
a
hog.
bear is really
You ever
difficult.
done the 3D?
Yeah.
Well, so then you know exactly. That's a black target. I mean, you always hope that you're not the first one at it, so you have a reference point.
Exactly.
But sometimes you don't have a choice. There'll be 3 to 4 people shooting that tournament, and it is whatever turn is to shoot as the sometimes you just happen to be the first one at that hog. There's all kinds of techniques that you use. If you don't want to give the competition an advantage, you may have black veins, black knock on your arrow,
Oh, gotcha.
and it's going to still be
So
hard to see.
before we go to break, is there any disadvantage to having
For a hunter,
scope?
I wouldn't hunt with it. I've done it. I've tried it. And if you're not prepared for it, that animal may come in within 15 yards. And if you have a 4-power, you're looking at hair.
Yeah, you can't really see
Uh,
the animal.
You
the way
could.
see
You
the
can.
animal.
I have done it. And because of experience, I can do it. But I don't recommend it. It's not necessary. Not to mention, what if it rains, it's foggy, anything like that.
Gotcha.
With humidity.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. Humidity and rain.
everything like that.
We got so much humidity in the
Right.
morning.
Not for hunting. Really.
Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our first break of the morning. Captain Jim Ross here, and we got Tino Villaverde in the studio from All About Archery. Don't go away. We got a whole lot of show coming at you right after this. Welcome back. This segment of the show is brought to you by great guys and gals up at Lamb Deck up in Titusville. If you're looking for a fantastic product to put on your boat, the EVA non-skid decking that they create and put on your boat is absolutely perfectly matched to the areas that you want to cover. Most of the time, what they do is they put it right over the top of your non-skid pattern, kind of keeps it simple, keeps it the same way that the company had it set up, and it's just twice to 3 times as good as having regular decking because it's non-slip. You can drop things on it and they don't break. Let's say you have a customer or you're doing the sandbar thing and you like a land shark or some kind of a beer in a bottle. We don't typically bring bottles on a boat, but just in case, if you drop it on the EVA non-skid, it has a lot less chance of breaking. And then, of course, just the absolute comfort level that the EVA non-skid decking gives to you from Lamb Deck is second to none. So basically, I'm telling you, give your back a break, give your knees a break, feel better at the end of the day. And the stuff cleans up real easy. We've been using the Starbright non-skid deck cleaner on it. It cleans right up, and it takes absolutely no time whatsoever to get the product cleaned and looking good again after the end of a long, bloody day of fishing and slime and everything else on the boat. So give them a call up at Lamb Deck, 321-505-4888. That's 321-505-4888. We're going to go to the phone lines. Got Captain Mike Kipp calling in from the Bahamas this morning.
Wow.
Good morning, buddy. How you doing today?
Action. Ready for the adventures of what the day's got to bring.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks like you've been over there for a couple of days, and I saw a post last night. I was like, good for you, man. You guys got onto some really good fishing over there.
Oh, yeah. Between
Fishing
shooting
and
mutton-
diving, I guess.
Yep, free diving for some mutton snappers. Today we're going to do try to get on some big hogfish and do some deep dropping. That's on today's agenda.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So this is a grocery run.
No, this is my son's graduation present from high school.
All right.
So he was able to get on his first pole spear before I get him, a trigger mech back when we get back to the States. But no, he's doing good, and family's loving it out here, man. Between either in the water, under it, or on it, it's paradise out here. Water's crystal clear. There was no wind yesterday. They're calling for 2-mile-an-hour winds today, so it's going to be a slicker today.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You know, Mike, that clear water scenario, whenever you're diving underwater, especially free diving, does that throw a little? Does it give you more confidence because you can see farther? I don't like getting in the water. I'm a stay in the boat kind of guy. There's some things out there that are faster than I can swim, and they got big teeth, and so I'm kind of a stay in the boat kind of guy. But
Right.
if you have a clear water scenario where you can see a long way, does that instill? I would think that would instill confidence in you because you can see your surroundings a whole lot better.
Yeah, as far as the toothy critters' confidence go, absolutely. But the shooting confidence goes a little down the wayside because you can see them.
They can see you.
So
Right.
As soon as you get over the coral head, you think where the fish are going to be. That coral head's a desert, and the one right next to it's full of fish. By the time you get there, it's vice versa. They just tuck in and hide. So you got to not be afraid to stick your head in the hole. And like that big, I think I sent you a picture of that mutton snapper we shot 2 days ago. That thing was in an 8-inch hole in a coral head out in the middle of 8 foot of water. It wasn't even deep. 8 foot of water on a big grass flat. One coral head, and this fish was in it. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I experienced
So, are you allowed to take lobster over there at this time of the year? Or
No, not till August 1st.
okay, so they do have seasons. What about
Correct.
conch? Are you allowed to collect conch?
Yes, here they let us collect conch. We just can't bring it back stateside, so it's all the shells and stuff got to stay here.
Well, that's a shame.
Yep.
Conch salad, conch.
Well,
conch
they-
fritters.
If you go to the Bahamas, they got to sell you those shells.
Conch ceviche. That's a shame.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to just eat it all before you came back. I mean,
You could probably bring the meat. You just can't
We've
bring
been
the
eating a lot
shell.
of ceviche on the boat. A lot of ceviche on the boat.
Ceviche on the boat.
so hogfish today and deep dropping. Now, what size
Yep.
boat did you take over, Mike?
I hopped on my buddy's 37 Fountain.
Okay, and where did you launch out of?
We launched out of Jupiter and shoot over towards West End, and then came down to Port Lacaya. And we're on Grand Bahama Island in Port Lacaya.
Okay, and you're in a hotel or you're a marina or a Airbnb
It's a marina. They've got 2 3-bedroom townhouses. They've got one efficiency apartment. They've got a full restaurant, 2 different swimming pools. They got everything here.
Interesting.
Everything. Yep.
Well, it's good.
The only thing they don't have is floating docks. So getting in and out of the boat with heavy coolers can be a pain in the butt if it ain't high tide.
Yep. That is the truth. That is the truth. I launched yesterday at Front Street in Melbourne, and those docks at Front Street in Melbourne are so high. They built them up that way so that they wouldn't get torn up in hurricanes. But to me, we have the technology to put floating docks in.
No
Why
kidding.
would you not put floating docks in?
Yeah, and properly done aluminum tops. I've seen them. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I was thinking to myself, I had a mom, a dad, and 3 young children yesterday. And typically, I don't take 5 people on the boat. But when we had a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and then mom and dad, and getting in and out of the dock should not be
That
a difficult scenario. And the
No.
city of Melbourne, or whoever designed those docks, has gone over and, in my opinion, has gone over and above to make it difficult for boaters that aren't completely and totally agile to get in and out of the boat. I can see where people that are, up in age, maybe in their 70s or 80s, that still want to go boating, people with any kind of a disability, and even young kids, getting them in and out of the boat from the dock down to my boat deck yesterday.
That's a 4-foot drop.
It's 3.5, 4 foot.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they don't put any railings or anything for you to help you get in and out of the boat.
Not even a step ladder.
No, you just gotta make sure you're next to one of the dock pilings, and then you can kind of pull yourself up with. But the dock pilings cut off at like knee high. So you would think that they would keep them taller, put a hand grip on them, some kind of something,
right,
to make it a little more accessible. So I feel you when you talk about no floating docks to get in and out of the water on a tidal scenario.
You're better off going to Ballard Park and take the ride down.
Yeah, Ballard's a way better scenario. Way better scenario. That somebody did it right there.
Yeah.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you calling in this morning. Good luck out on the water today, and congratulations on all of the fun that you've been having with the family. And you've been getting some really nice catches. So good job there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys have fun. Be safe. Catch a memory.
Hey, Mike, before you go, now you're going to be back in town and running charters at what point?
We come back Monday. I'll be back on the water Tuesday. I come back Monday, but I'll be back on the water the 10th.
On the 10th. Okay. Now, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, have you got any days open, and how do they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me at firelinecharters.com, or they can call or text me at 386-837-3827. And I think I got 4 or 5 days left in July open, and then we're moving on to August.
Fantastic, buddy. Well, enjoy the time over there, and have a fun and safe trip out there today.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
Take care, Mike. That's so cool.
That is.
Taking the family places.
I wish I was there.
Yeah.
Doing some of that hog snapper, spearfishing.
Doing a little bit of scalloping here. That's the only thing that I really get out of the boat for. And not that you can't get bit by a shark in 4, 5, 6 feet of water.
Yes, you can. But
I feel like there's, I don't know. For
free diving, I feel like I have a little more of a defense mechanism. I mean, you can always, especially if you do it with somebody else, within two of you, one staying up, one goes down, then the other one goes down. You keep an eye on each other, which sometimes is difficult because you see a fish you go after. I did.
It's interesting that Mike called in and said that they were free diving because you, in your former life, were a national free diving champion. For those people out there that didn't know that.
Yeah, and I loved it. I love it. And incredibly, since I've been here, I never gone to the Bahamas spearfishing. But just one of those things, just never got around it. But I've done a free diving around here as well. But yeah, back in South America at 17 years old.
So with this lobster season coming up, are you going to go and try and free dive?
Nah, I'm too busy with my archery shop and my property in North Florida. Now I'm saving the rest of my adult youth for hunting.
I gotcha. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, I believe we're going to have our Mosquito Lagoon report, so don't go away. I believe Captain Mike Mann's on right after this break, so don't go away. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by the guys and gals at Sun State Pest Management. And I was just trying to think, Sun State came out and took care of. It's funny. We start getting rain. All of a sudden, the bugs want to show up. Not that they're not there already, but you really start noticing them when it starts to rain. So I get my, house and yard and everything serviced about once a month. Sometimes it's once every other month. And I just noticed that we had a bunch of rain last week, and all of a sudden, there's these little teeny cockroaches. Well, they're baby palmetto bugs. They're not the actual like a German roach. They're little baby palmetto bugs that we just call roaches start popping up in my garage. I just see them walking around on the floor.
When it rains, they get in the pockets of your palm trees. Yeah. They get kind of floated, and they just might.
And I have palm trees in the yard. So they all came out of the palms, and I guess they decided to take refuge.
Jimmy's got a good place here.
Let's go get it. Garage. Let's go get in
They'll
there.
Die, though. If they spray, they'll die.
Oh, yeah.
They won't reproduce in there.
So them, and then we got not one, but 2 fire ant mounds
That's
in the
different.
yard.
That's different.
So I'm like, okay, wonder where'd these guys all of a sudden pop up from? You know?
They've been there. They just pop up a little higher to get away from the water.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, all of a sudden I got a little,
That's a news trip.
infestation, if you will,
Yeah.
a mini infestation.
Yeah.
So I call my guys up at Sun State, come right out and take care of the problem. So
Yeah.
give them a call, Sun State Pest Management, right here in Rockledge, 321-505-48. I'm sorry, they are at 800-781-7378. That's 1-800-781-7378. Sun State Pest Management. Give those guys and gals a call. And Steve Goff is the owner and
Super nice
loves
guy.
fishing. So if you get a chance to get a hold of Steve, you can talk fishing with him because he absolutely loves it. We're going to go to the phone line. It's got Captain Mike Mann on the line this morning. Mike, are you on the water?
Yep, I am on the water this morning, and we decided to run down into the lagoon instead of doing the near shore, get away from some of the crowds, and it was fast and furious. We've caught 5 or 6 trout, a couple of nice jacks, one real big jack, ladyfish, and got the whisker biscuit, the old El Gato.
Yeah.
So just got that. We're getting ready to move to a new location. The water is 88 degrees, and actually I had places where it was 90 degrees. I found a cool spot where it's only 88.
I was going to say you must not have had any rain up there in the last couple of days to have that kind of water temp. Because down in Melbourne we've had some rain here and there, and the waters are still at that 84, 85 degree range from Melbourne down through Sebastian when I was down there yesterday.
I didn't tell you the last time I saw rain up here. My grass sprinkler's going wide open.
Gotcha.
But bite's been good. As long as we've had some wind, we start out with a little bit of a southeast breeze, and it seems to be dying off a little bit. So we're going to relocate a little bit, move out to a little deeper water. The bite's been a little bit better later in the morning, first thing, and then it slows down for a little bit, and then later. Now we got the new moon, so hopefully that's going to keep it going for a little while today.
Well, those tarpon that you were fishing on, how have they been acting lately? Have you gone up to check on them?
I haven't gone up to check on those guys just due to the amount of boat traffic that's been out here for the last week. I mean, you get 4th of July on a weekday and everybody's off for the whole week, so we've had a tremendous amount of boat traffic. So I've kind of left those guys alone. I've gone to some a little bit further south. And we may ease down there and check those guys in just a minute, see what's going on. We're trying to get a little bit something to eat today. If you out in the boat.
Your phone's breaking up just a little bit, Mike.
What's that?
Your phone's breaking up just a little bit.
Sorry, I was trying to multitask, and this new phone does not like when I hold it up to my ear over my shoulder.
Nope.
But
is
that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah, if I try and hold it with my shoulder, it doesn't work real well. We've, there's been a lot of tarpon. There's just so much boat traffic.
Kind of put them off.
They haven't been really. The last good day I had for tarpon was, I think, Tuesday, and had a good jump up. Good bite on them, a lot of them around, and then it kind of slowed down again.
Gotcha.
But there's still a lot of them around, waiting for them to kind of move into the middle part of the basin. Hopefully they'll move into the middle part of the basin soon. We're in the big boat this morning down here in the lagoon.
Yeah, I see your text here. Water temp at 6 a.m. or your post. 89.4 degrees, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what normally mid-August, late August temperatures.
That is pretty doggone warm. I'm not going to lie there. So live bait today or artificials?
Live bait. I got a group of 4, and so we are throwing some piggies, and fish seem to be eating them good. We get really quick bite on them. They were hitting the water and getting chomped on, whether it was ladyfish, a trout, or a jack. As soon as they hit the water, we were getting bites. So we that slowed down a little bit. We're going to move out to a little deeper water, see if we can stay in the trout a little bit more.
Very cool.
And Matt Lee, I just talked to Matt. Matt's been on some redfish. How long has it been since you've seen July schools of redfish in the lagoon?
Years. Not just
Yeah,
months. I mean, I'm talking years.
Yeah, well, we've got them.
That's awesome. That is such good news.
Yeah, starting to see the schools of redfish, which is, it used to be a summertime fishery for us, and that kind of died out where you're having to pick up singles. Now we got good schools of them.
Well, one of our show listeners, Shay Hobby, that listens in every week, sent me a short video of, believe it or not, a flat in the Titusville area that had lush grass growing on it. I was shocked.
I'm sitting here staring at floating grass right now. The grass is just thick up here. There's areas that you really can't fish because it's gotten so thick. And throwing a topwater, remember 10 years ago we complained about trying to throw a topwater this time of year because the grass was so thick. You'd get 2 or 3 chugs and suddenly it's loaded up.
It's loaded up, yep. Salty snacks, baby. You need to get some salty snacks from Assassin. They slide right through that stuff. And they are such a cool topwater to throw.
I will have to I wonder if I know anybody at Saltwater Assassin that could send me a couple.
I might know a guy that could could get you a pack or 2 of those. They're not necessarily a topwater. They're a bulbous soft plastic bait that's actually more of a glide bait or a wake bait than they are truly a topwater plug. If you're working them at redfish speeds and trout speeds. Now, if you're working them at bluefish and jack speeds, then they are a topwater because they will stay completely on the top. But they're more of a glide type bait. But man, do they work good. But they make a wake bait. They make a great wake. You can throw them up in that skinny stuff. They're kind of almost a cross between a topwater and if you looked at it from a freshwater standpoint, they're kind of like a frog almost. They're kind of like throwing a frog.
That's cool.
Where it'll slide across that floating grass and some of that topped out grass where you're fishing in 1.5 foot of water and the grass is totally topped out, but you've got those little pockets of open water that the fish are using as ambush points. You can cast it in those areas and still work it across, and it. Yeah, I think I might know a guy that could hook you up on a couple of those, Mike. So I'll make sure I get a hold of that guy for you.
I appreciate that. Well, because that's a great bait this time of year, especially not so much today because we got bright sun and just calm conditions, but you get on a day where it's a little overcast and you got a little bit of wind texture on the water, and top water is great because there's just a plethora of mullet throughout the lagoon. I mean, mullet, we got pogies in here. I mean, there's little pilchards. There's glass minnows showing up now. I mean, it's alive.
Well, I tell you what, the last time I was up that way was last Tuesday, and not this week, but last week Tuesday, and the trout, the small trout, were absolutely wrecking the schools of glass minnows along the shoreline.
Yeah, the trout bite's been good. It's good seeing a lot of little ones. This week, what I've had is I'm either catching a lot of little guys, but not a lot of big ones. But then I moved to a place where the bite's a little slower, and it's been bigger fish. And once you get on the bigger fish, it's not as quick, fast, and furious of a bite, but it's bigger fish. I mean, I had one day where we couldn't get anything under 20 inches this week.
That's horrible.
Which is not a bad problem.
That's just a horrible problem to have, Mike. I feel for you. I feel so bad for you that you couldn't catch any trout under 20 inches.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Darn me.
Hold on, let me get the world's smallest fiddle out and play you a little tune on it.
Yeah, first world problem.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Mike, lastly, grass is growing. Are you having to use the push pole a whole lot more now and leave the trolling motor kind of stowed away?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, and some of it's when I get the right charter. I mean, I'm clearly not going to boat when I got 3 or more people, and I don't even have a push pole in the Panga. But yeah, definitely. If we're sight fishing, you got to use a push pole. That trolling motor with this water this clear, you need to stay on the pole. And it's weird. Because we've had the schools, I'm not finding a whole lot of singles cruising shorelines. It's there's a school in the area, and they're all bunched up in there. Not a lot of singles I've been finding lately.
Yep.
Now, I haven't worked the East Shore, which is typically good for singles. I haven't worked it. I just haven't needed to go that far south.
Well, there's no sense running past fish to go to other fish if you don't have to.
Yeah, conserve fuel when you can, because it's not getting any cheaper.
No, it sure isn't. Well, buddy, we are up against our next break. How does somebody get a hold of Captain Mike Mann and get out there and do some fishing with you?
Yeah, I have about 6 days still available this month. You can give me a call at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com. You can follow me on Instagram, CAPT Mike Mann with 2 N's, and Facebook, Fat Fish Guide Service. Guys, get out there, catch a memory, and hope everybody had a great 4th of July.
All right, buddy. We'll be in touch, okay?
All right, thanks, guys.
Take care, Mike. Captain Mike Mann out there in Mosquito Lagoon. You got to love it.
Yep.
Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we're going to have a whole lot more with myself, Captain Jim Ross, and we've got Tino from All About Archery in the studio. Don't go away. We got a whole lot more fun coming right at you. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Engel Coolers, and, of course, they've got soft sides. They've got hard sides. They've got refrigerator freezer coolers as well. Now, obviously, this is a kind of a weekend where a lot of people get out, do some camping, go out in the boat, hang out for multiple days at a time. These refrigerator freezer type coolers can be plugged in to a 12-volt outlet and keep things cold even longer than you can with a regular cooler. So it's something definitely worth checking out. And on top of that, every once in a while, Engel will have some that they have refurbished that they'll put back out on the market at a discounted rate. So take a look at engelcoolers.com. There's so much stuff there that you're gonna go, wow, I didn't realize it. But there are some really cool deals that you can find on products that will keep you out in the outdoors and keep your food, keep your drinks, everything else colder much, much longer than you would ever imagine, especially with these 12-volt models. So check them out at engelcoolers.com. Tino and myself are in the studio. Tino, so we have a thing here on the desk for those people that are watching and on Facebook, and I see there's an arrow laying in it. It looks like there's some little rollers that the arrow can lay in.
Give them a clue.
I don't know what is it though?
Well, that's for them to let us know.
Well, yeah. Let me look at the front side of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I see there's some numbers and stuff. I couldn't see what they were, but there's a graduated
There's a scale.
Yeah. On the other side. So,
Yeah, that's a clue.
So, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I want that.
See if somebody
comes
can
up
figure it out.
and says it, and for some reason,
bunch of little micro adjustments on it too. So that's kind of
correct. And if they were to call us today here and tell us what it is, they win that light. But
I'm looking at your arrows, the arrow that you have sitting on this device. You shoot the 5mm or you shoot the 4mm?
4.
You like the 4s?
Well, it's simple physics, and I only shoot 60 pounds.
Okay.
That's the exact same arrow. This is one of the arrows that I shot on that target. It's exactly one of the arrows, and you can see it has a illuminated knock. It's got one of those lighted knocks, and it is 4 mils because physics will tell you anything smaller in diameter will penetrate better. A pencil, anything. That's just physics. That's just something that is the way it is. So, for me, I'm gonna try to take advantage of that. They're a little more expensive. This one is a full metal jacket, which means it has aluminum outside, carbon core inside, and absolutely a great penetrator.
So we used to shoot back in the day.
Plain aluminum.
Well, we used to shoot wooden arrows.
Oh well, yeah, that's
way back in the day.
Yeah.
Then we became infatuated with aluminum, and we started shooting hollow tube aluminum arrows.
Right.
So, but but then the carbon and the graphites came out. And so now you had the same rigidity, but
on carbon.
lighter weight.
That's
Kind of, sort of.
That's sort of a loaded question there in a way. There's the spines, and the spines change, and if it's then there's numbers. This one happens to be a 400. Well, that is the spine. If it was a 340, it is actually thicker, so it's going to be heavier. It will look exactly the same, but the spine is different, and it also makes it heavier. So
And
the thicker the spine
is the stiffness.
That's how much it flexes.
Okay.
Yeah. And depending on the poundage of the bow, you have to pick that arrow. People come in my shop and they look at arrows. They all look the same in some of them. Like you go look at a full metal jacket, 5mm or 4mm, and there'll be 3-4 boxes in there, and they'll look the same, but they're not. And that is because what we do when we take a bow, you come in, you buy a bow, and okay, I want a 70-pound bow, and my draw length is 29. Well, that right there, right off the bat, if the gentleman's going to use a 70-pound bow and he has a 29-inch draw, we're going to have to set him up with a little stronger arrow, stiffer arrow, should say, because the longer the arrow, the more it'll flex. The shorter the arrow, the stiffer it gets. So all of those things are to be taken in consideration. You buy the bow, all arrows are not made the same. You're going to get a very specific spine arrow to you specifically. It's like going and getting a suit. It's set up
a pair
for
of
you.
shoes.
That's right.
You got to fit you.
You got to fit you.
And so, let's just take as an example that 29-inch draw length. Okay, that's a guy. 29-inch draw length is a guy who's 5'11", 6 foot.
Well,
average size guy.
That's another loaded question because
just on an average.
On average, yes.
So the average guy is
yes.
a 28, 29-inch draw length.
Yeah.
Let's look at that 29 as an example.
Sure.
Because you brought that up. At 70 pounds, that arrow is going to have a lot more force put on it than it is at 60 or at 50.
Exactly.
And so that's where that spine, you're saying, is
right.
coming into play.
You got to absorb that energy
to keep the bow, keep the arrow from making keep the bow from making the arrow flex and wobble and look like an S or a snake.
Right.
Versus a straight line.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised with this low motion camera. You can really see they look like spaghetti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that stiffness. So if a guy that's trying to shoot a 70-pound bow at 29 inches, and he has, hey, here's his buddy. Hey, man, I love these arrows. Give these a try.
No.
And they don't shoot the same as his.
Yeah.
Maybe they shoot better than the ones he's shooting. Maybe they shoot worse than the ones he's shooting. But he can buy the wrong arrow, as you were getting.
And people do all the time. People buy. They think they see something on YouTube, and they don't quite get the whole picture or understand what they're really looking at. Look, when in our shop, you buy a bow, we tune it and we paper tune it. What does that do? The paper tuning, we shoot it through paper, and we want to see a bullet hole.
Yeah.
We don't want to see a tear to the right, left, up, or down. So if you get a bullet hole, that is the arrow that bow needs to be shooting at the poundage and draw length that you are.
And you can't really see that until you paper tune.
That's right.
Because your arrow may be hitting where you want it to hit, but it's hitting sideways.
Well, the arrow will always, you can sight in the arrow always to hit where you want to. Right. Is how the arrow gets there.
So the efficiency of the arrow.
So you don't lose kinetic energy. Yeah. Exactly.
And like you were saying, if you took, for those of you listeners out there, if you took a piece of paper and you simply let's just take a ballpoint pen and just poked it through the piece of paper, it would make a nice little round hole.
Yeah.
But if you kind of came at an angle and tried to make
now you got an oval.
Now you have an oval or a tear.
You're a tear.
And that's where you're saying is that you don't want the bow making the arrow.
So let's picture this.
Tear.
Your string, again, there's vertical.
Right.
When you pull it back, you let it go, and it is a straightforward travel. You're not just going to be, it should be a straightforward travel. And you want to have that arrow line up with that vertical. So you're not shooting, if the arrow sits on the rest to the left or right, you will still launch that arrow. but that arrow will have to recover to get back in the path of the string. And that loses energy because that arrow has to recover, and it will. And you can group it. It shoots great, hits the same spot every time. That does not necessarily mean you have efficiency, that you are saving all the efficiency or containing the efficiency you want to have from that arrow. And sometimes people that don't know that, they've been doing it for years, they don't paper tune a bow, and sometimes they have penetration issues on animals, and they figure, is the broadhead. And it's not necessarily that. Yeah. The first thing you need to learn when you buy a bow is to practice grouping and placing. They don't have to be concerned with all this technology as to, the FOC. And if it's properly tuned, we set you up with an arrow that it puts a bullet hole through that paper. You're going to be set for success. And that's what we try to do in our shop.
So we've got a contraption here that's got a gradient scale on it. It sort of looks like the tail wing on an airplane actually is with the actual back piece to it, and it has
the rudder and a shamrock.
Yeah, it has an arrow rest with some rollers on it.
Yeah.
So
I can see Jim can hardly stand it that he doesn't know what it is.
I don't have any
and I'm
idea.
not saying.
I got no clue what this thing is. Absolutely no clue whatsoever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you brought it in. So hopefully one of the viewers out there that's viewing will know what that particular thing is. If you do, and you want to put it on the Facebook page, you can either call in 321-632-1000. That would probably be the best way to do it. Call us if you know what this thing is. If you don't know what this thing is, like me, then obviously, hopefully, somebody will know. But if not, we'll let you know by the end of the show. But you can, yeah.
Actually, I'm not even going to let you know. But no Google.
But you will get an NAP Apache Predator green nightlight flashlight,
and you have to the end of the show to do so. If you don't, we're going to still give away that light. They may just have to go ahead and check our YouTube channel, subscribe, make a comment, tell us what it is, and then you can win it.
And what's your YouTube channel?
It would be All About Archery, MOV, as in Victor, !
Okay. We so the thing about nowadays is that you can find out about anything.
Yes.
Yes. It doesn't take long, but we want somebody that legitimately knows what the thing is and can tell us what the thing is without reading it off of a Google search.
Well, if they went to the trouble, whatever, and they call the station, we'll give it to the first caller that gives us the answer.
There you go.
How's that?
Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our top of the hour break. We're looking forward to somebody guessing what this thing is that the arrow is cradled in. When we get back, I need to see this new Redworks 8 bow that you've got here.
Yeah.
I'm noticing the cams on it don't look the same as my Redworks 5 cams.
No,
so they've done something.
A lot. They've done it to the 7 as well, and it carried for 2 years after the 5. And this one, I have a feeling that it may carry for 2 years, but I don't know that for a fact because
we'll get into high-end bow technology and how it translates into you being able to take more game when we come back after these messages, so don't go away. Welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch Your Memory Outdoors. Oh my goodness, people are sending me texts over my phone, and I'm looking at some of this stuff, and we got another one here. We got lobsters. We got groupers. Golly, Jimmy Williams up out of Ponce Inlet absolutely crushed some groupers yesterday. I'm talking big boys. Anyway, and he's been doing pretty good on the snappers as well. He's been down there spearfishing. That's a huge one. That's a huge one. Is that you?
Yeah.
And how big? So Tino just showed me one.
The 50-pounder.
50-pound grouper.
Gag grouper.
Gag. That's a monster.
Yeah.
That is an absolute.
And that was one of 3 that I brought up in one dive. Yeah, it was awesome dive.
Now, was that
27 minutes? I'll never forget it.
Oh, I was going to say.
I was fighting sharks. Oh, yeah, that was with tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
I've
fun
taken-
part. Yeah,
oh,
you
yeah.
got a 50-pound fish, a trophy fish, and the shark's trying to take it from you.
Oh, that was
And you gotta fight
27
the shark
minutes of
off.
fighting a bull shark, and there was a tiger that I never got to see. My buddy did.
No
Yeah.
thanks. I'm staying. I'll drive the boat. I'll just drive the. You guys need somebody to drive the boat.
We
the
need a
guy.
captain.
Yeah, I'll run around like that. So Tino, we only have 2 months.
I know. That's
2 months. And
thanks for
opening
bringing that up.
day
Yeah, thanks for bringing
starts.
that up.
If you guys and gals out there haven't had a tune-up this year, or at least had your bow checked, not that your bow's going to get out of tune from year to year, but it can.
Actually, it does. The biggest thing that you have to check is a stretch on the string, which these days the stretch is still minimum, but it will change the timing, and you will feel it. You will feel it. If all of a sudden you've been shooting and one day you go out there, I'm hitting low today, or I'm hitting somewhere else today. Usually is the timing on the bow. Plus, so therefore you might be going a quarter of an inch or an eighth of an inch farther back, and then or you collapse easier, and usually that's what it is. We'll bring you back to spec. Don't move your sight. Have it checked.
Yeah.
Have it checked, because then you have it checked. You find out, and on the sight you have to move it again.
That's the thing, is that guys, we like to tinker, and we're like, oh, I'm not hitting.
Yeah.
My sight must have moved. Let me adjust my sight.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the sight that was the problem. It was, like you say, it was the stretch in the string.
Right.
Got the tuning. One cam is not turning at the same speed that the other cam
Exactly.
and so you need to go get that adjusted, and it will tighten you right back up. And sometimes it's only a half a turn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. It's just minimal.
Eighth of
but-
an inch. Eighth of an inch can make that feel spongier at the end. You don't need that.
But yeah, we tinker. We go straight for the Allen wrenches, and it's like, don't do that. Just have your timing.
That's one of the things I tell all my clients where they come
for
in.
you last year and it's not this year, have your timing checked. So I was going to ask you. I had a thought this morning. I have an Excalibur micro crossbow.
Yeah.
I love the thing. It is dead nuts on.
Sure.
But I haven't shot that bow now it's been almost 18 months.
You keep it inside the house,
I
right?
keep it in the house.
Okay.
But it's a recurve bow. It's not got cams or anything else. It's just a simple recurve.
Familiar with it.
What about the string stretch on it? Should I uncock that bow and leave?
No.
Okay.
Do not. First of all, the Excaliburs are taking the strings on and off. It almost takes two people, because you don't put it on a press. You have to use these device that you set, and you sneak over both tips of the crossbow, and then you almost have to pull it back, hold it on, have another guy undo the string, let it down, and they're tough, especially the micro.
Oh, yeah, they're strong.
They're very
You
strong.
better rub some MAN on yourself if you get one, because they're not the easiest thing to cock.
No, they're not.
But man, so my other bow that I had was a good bow, and it shot pretty well. I killed some animals with it. It was fun to play with. It was.
You mean crossbow?
It was a great little crossbow, and
Yeah.
for sitting in a ground blind in particular,
Right.
or a box blind, an elevated box blind, where you can't really shoot a bow out of very efficiently.
You mean a cam crossbow?
Cam style crossbow?
Yeah, they're usually quieter.
It was a little quieter, but when you're in a box blind that's built for a gun hunting, it's almost impossible to bow hunt out of those things. It's just really, really hard. The animal would have to line up perfectly. I mean, you would have to tell him, okay, you come stand right here, because it's the only way that I can shoot you.
Right.
It's not like you can follow him around like you can with a gun or with a crossbow.
Yeah.
And so I got rid of that one, and I got this micro. It's a micro Nightmare. It's all blacked out, and it shoots about 330 or 335 feet per second. It's plenty fast. It is silly accurate. I mean, it's ridiculously
Crossbows
accurate.
in general, they're silly accurate.
I mean, it's anybody can use one of these things. So
Yeah.
if you can't use
It's great to start your kids
a
on.
regular bow,
Yeah.
it is a great way. It is to get into target practice, to get into hunting, those sorts of things. They are so user friendly, and this bow has been so much fun to use. But it's not the easiest bow in the world to cock. So I was wondering, should I'll know. So this
you can bring
I'm,
it in. I can
I'm
check the
thinking-
strings for you. Just to make sure that they're not dried up. And you lube your rail, correct? You know
yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep the
so
rail lubed. I
you
keep
take
the
a look
string
at your
lubed.
serving in the center. Make sure that's not separating.
Yep.
And if that's the case,
So I keep it in a case in my bedroom under my bed. So it's in climate controlled area,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. But I was just thinking, should I release the pressure off of it at some point in time?
not
if I'm
really.
Not gonna use it for a long time?
Not really. That's not something. Crossbows are not, and even compound bows. You don't release the pressure off of them.
Okay.
It's those limbs are meant to be worked that way. Over years, they may lose some of their tension, but it's nothing that you have to worry about. That you just gotta keep an eye on that string separation, dry. As long as you're lubing that rail, also that's very important. That it's always lubed.
Yeah.
Have it checked. I mean, it's not. That's just the life of that. After a while, it's kind of like
when it starts shooting improperly, when it stops hitting the exact point that I want it to hit.
maybe change the string
That's when I need to look at it.
and just change the string. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So that was just something that went through my mind this morning.
Right.
And the
right.
reason it did is because the dog got under the bed and kind of kicked the tip of the casing out from under the bed so I could see it. And I was like, I need,
take a look at that.
Push it back under the bed. And then I was like, I'm going to ask Tino about that. And
Yeah.
See what he thinks. So, well, that's good to know. But I really like that for a ground blind or box blind scenario. It still allows me to hunt with an arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Not that gun hunting isn't fun, but
Challenge.
gun hunting is kind of cheating.
It's like sometimes you guys as fishermen, some of you guys go, hey, I'm going to go all artificial. That's it. Either artificial or I won't get it.
Right.
That's it. It's the same thing.
Same concept. You're putting restrictions on
yourself for the challenge.
Yeah, for the challenge of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. So we're looking at this RX-8
From Hoyt, yeah.
from Hoyt. What has changed? Because this bow looks definitely different than the bow I bought from you a couple years ago. What has changed on this bow? Because every year they're tweaking and making improvements every single year.
And that's so interesting because it's a common comment that people come in and say, oh, I still have my RX4 or my RX. And what can they change? How can they make him any better? Well, it is all about the manufacturing style of that company. And that's why, I sell Hoyas, I can sell any brand I want to. I think they have the best engineering in the market. And so they have these machines, which they will draw the bow 1,000,000 times. Well, you draw a bow 1,000,000 times, something's going to give.
Yes.
Okay, so they have infrared cameras, they have thermal cameras, they have slow motion cameras. All of that gets recorded. All that data, so this failed in this little location. We're going to have to reinforce or do something on the engineering design of
maybe
it.
even re-engineer.
Because this is basically like a truss on a house per se, and you know where they have to be strongest, and depending on the span, this, that, and the other. But what happens when you change something in one spot, something may change in another one. Well, from year to year, they have years and years of experience to where they learn that. And changes maybe settle to the eye is completely very significant to engineering. And sometimes, like this year, things change enough to where even the common man like myself grabs a bow and goes, oh, wait a minute. There's definitely a change. Let's just start with the cam. These bows, this cam, and it looks almost like a regular cam. It is a regular cam. It's just that minute change of angle makes the draw cycle on these bows. A 70-pound, you might pull it and come in the shop and say, can you put it at 70? It's already at 70.
Because it only feels like it's at 50 or something.
It feels like it's a 60 or a 60, 65. It definitely feels a lot smoother, a smoother cycle. Another thing they did this year that is, to me, it's quite, I can't believe that it's taken so long. Adjustments on the draw length this year are to 1/4 of an inch. So if you happen to
Before they were like a half of an inch. Yeah.
half inch,
Okay.
and some of the lower bows are 1 inch, and this one is a quarter of an inch, and that is incredible. I mean, because you may find that you feel perfectly 28, just a little long, 27 and a half, I feel a little short, but I have to live with it because that's just what's available. Well, now
And you had to compensate somewhere else. You had
Yes.
to compensate with your
release.
your release,
Yes.
or your D loop had you make
Or
your big
D-loop,
D loop
exactly.
bigger, smaller.
No compromises here.
Yeah.
Also, let off. Let off is quite important because some of us grew up with 60% let off, 50% let off. So you're holding a lot on the back end. With this right here, you've got three choices. You can have it at 75%. It comes set up already at 85, but you can have it at 75, 80, and 85% let off.
Wow.
And it is a simple. That's something you can tinker with. It's a simple adjustment. Just loosen this little screw right
So
here.
on a 60 or 70 pound draw bow, 85% let. Just say a 70 pound bow. You're holding 15 pounds.
Yes.
You're holding virtually nothing.
Yeah, and you can hold that on
once you're at your full draw. So
Yeah.
so you don't get those shakes. and
That's
those,
right.
You know, you say your deer's coming in and he stops on you and you're like, oh,
Exactly.
he's not in position yet.
Yes.
You know, I'm drawn. I don't want to let down, but oh my goodness, I can't hardly hold this anymore.
Right.
So that percentage of let off helps
Yes.
you hold for an extended period
And there's
of time.
techniques to that as well for those who have to ever hold. But yeah, that makes it much more.
Up to 85% let off.
85% let
Amazing.
off.
Well, when we come back, we got a whole lot more. We got another
There's
break
more.
we're going to take. Tino and myself are going to be right back with Catch a Memory, so don't go away. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We just got a text from a concerned, a concerned and an educated citizen. It says, just an FYI, Lee Winter Park, which is the park in downtown Cocoa, right there in Cocoa Village, use that park boat ramp quite a bit. The park will be closing on the 1st of August, 2024. They're going to be doing a total renovation, and it will remain closed for approximately a year. So those ramps, docks, T-area docks, and parking are all going to get updated from the city of Cocoa. So just wanted to give you guys and gals an FYI about that you've got 15 to we got 20 more days or so. And then we're gonna be that park's gonna be closing, or we're not gonna be able to use the Lee Winter Park location for about a year. So hopefully they'll do some great upgrades to that and put some floating docks back in so that we can have some more places to park. And that's just wanted to let everybody out there know. Tino and myself, we're just discussing the changes. Oh, looky here, my Starbright bucket. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. Wanted to talk about the changes in this year's bows from some of the last year's bows. Now, this is the flagship bow.
Yeah,
this is the
is the Carbon RX-8.
This is the elite bow in the Hoyt Carbon series.
Yeah.
They also have an aluminum.
They got the
series.
aluminum, the Alpha X, and it has all the same features as this one. The difference is it's a CNC machine, aluminum, but same pocket, same cam, same feel. And in fact, you can shoot one side by side. They're just as dead nuts. I mean, they just quiet as they can get in your hand. And no vibration.
Why would a guy choose a carbon bow?
Well,
over
for
an
one
aluminum
thing,
bow?
sometimes it's budget.
Or vice versa. Aluminum over carbon, maybe.
Well, if you hunt in cold climates, I highly recommend, or you hunt Colorado, where you hike with that bow in your hand, you'd be surprised what 5 ounces does at the end of the day when you're climbing with a lack of oxygen or any kind of long distance hauling equipment. It adds up. It adds up. So absolutely.
So
and
the
in cold
carbon-
climates, this thing you can have bare hand if you can, and it's not going to feel freezing to your hand. Where an aluminum bow, you might feel the difference.
Gotcha. So the carbon bow is not. It doesn't feel as cold.
Right.
Not as
It
cold
just
as
doesn't
touch.
feel cold, period.
And it's slightly lighter.
And it's quite a bit lighter, yeah. Okay. It's lighter for sure.
Okay. So,
But that's where the engineering is so good. Because here, take one. You were wanting to know a few more things. Let's find how many dampeners are on that bow.
I was going to say
I don't see any,
I don't
do
even
I?
see any except for string suppressors. I don't
That's
see a
it.
single dampener
It's
on the bow.
a string suppressor here and 2 monkey tails, as they call them. That's it. And that's it. So this bow now, the engineering got so advanced because in the past years, even last year, there is some kind of dampener attached.
Oh yeah,
here,
they've always got some kind of
dampener here.
shock absorbing
There's
dampener
nothing
here, there, and
there.
everywhere.
Jim, I guarantee you shoot this bow and you won't feel a thing. Boom. It's
Really?
no vibration.
So they have engineered the bow to the point that they have engineered the shock wave out of it, basically.
I'm not going to go too far that it's completely out of it because that's almost impossible, but absolutely you won't feel it. You're going to know.
Well, I can tell you the difference between shooting my 2009 Hoyt Alpha Max,
Oh, yeah.
70-pound draw,
Yeah.
with suppressors on it,
Yeah.
and shooting my
That's years and years of technology. Yeah.
22
What?
Redworks RX5
The RX5. Yeah,
that I bought
is,
from you.
that's about 3-4 years old. Yeah.
It's night and day difference.
Oh, yeah.
First of all,
Absolutely.
it's much lighter. I
Yeah.
mean, considerably lighter.
Yeah. Yet
But the-
no vibration as
But
well.
yeah, but the when you let that arrow go, even though the Hoyt Alpha Max from 2009 was bow of the year that year, of all
in
the bows,
2008 when it came out, it was my bow of preference.
yeah, of all the bows that were made that year by everybody,
Yeah.
Hoyt's Alpha Max bow was the quote unquote bow of the year,
Yeah.
and for good reason. I mean, it was a really, really good bow, and I have killed a lot of animals with it.
Me too.
I've shot a lot of foam
I've used
with it.
that one too.
It's a great bow, and it's
Yeah.
still a great bow to this day. But when you put that in hand, and then you put this new technology in hand, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
this is consider even a guy that doesn't do this every day like myself. You're like, wow,
You
this
notice
is-
it
this is a big
immediately.
difference.
Exactly.
It's for those of you guys and gals out there putting it in fishing terms. It's like taking a Zebco 202 or taking, like a Penn Authority or a Shimano Stella and sizing them up. Yeah, they both will cast a lure.
Or a Penn Senator. Eh?
Yeah. But holy
Yeah.
cow, there is a quantum leap in the technology.
There is,
And,
there is.
And so it's interesting. This bow looks like it is, and I don't know if this is just my perception. This bow looks like the limbs are a little shorter on it. Is that
True. True.
They are. Okay.
The cams are doing a lot more work, and that I can't. I'm not an engineer, so I can't tell you exactly everything that they figure out.
Right.
But they did, and there's a difference. Like I said, sometimes it's just not obvious to the eye, but they have improved them from year to year to year.
And that's that thermal imaging. That's that slow,
Yeah.
high speed imaging. I guess you.
They
could
have
say.
another machine that will dry fire them 1,500 times and do all of that testing with all of that equipment that can record what's happening, and not to mention decibels of sound, everything. All of that's being recorded. They'll know. They'll know where they have to go to work, and they do. They do. They don't. There's other companies out there that add more dampeners or add weight. If you add weight to a rifle, you know that it's going to be steadier in your hand. Well, they add weight to a bow, they'll make it quieter, and you would feel like, I didn't feel, because you're holding an anchor in front of you in your hand. That's not the case with these guys, in my opinion. They have made their work and their time to make sure that the engineering
is
there.
this a guy's bow or is this a girl's bow? Is this everybody's bow? Whose bow is this primarily?
Many people can buy that bow because we sell them in all the way from 40 pounds to in draw length. There's different cams, and even though they have a very specific ladies bow called the Eclipse, which is draw length specific, excellent bow, aluminum, but in nice and light for the ladies. Yet it's got all the features of that. It's not a cheap bow. But if they want a carbon bow, yeah, a lady can buy one that'll be specific for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even, I wouldn't say youth because we have bows for the youth.
Right.
We have those very specific. But once you are in a draw length, but these guys can go down to 24 inches in draw length.
Okay.
With the right cam and the right module.
And you just order the bow in that setup.
Yeah, for the most part.
Gotcha. So,
but with the ladies' bow, we have like the clips. Most serious lady hunters, they will go with that bow because it's a huge advantage.
Well, that leads to my next thought process is that you're looking at a bow that the bow that I have is not as good as this bow, but it's got a lot of the technology in my bow that's in this bow. That technology trickle down effect with the technology gets the better quality products trickling down line into the lower price point bows. So even if you buy a $500 or $700 bow versus a $1,700 bow, you're still getting a lot of that engineering in quality built into the bow. That's the neat thing about.
Yeah, we have some price point bows that if I didn't have anything else, I'd gladly go hunting with that. I will not be shortchanged.
Well, let's look at this. What is the lowest price point Hoyt bow this year?
It's a package, comes with everything. The only thing you would need is arrows and release, and it's $900.
So for $900, you're getting a bow that
you can go hunt anywhere in the country.
Now, my Hoyt Alpha Max,
it is pretty similar to the performance of the Alpha Max.
Yes, was $900.
Yes, and that was just the bow.
Right before the sight.
This is a package: sight, sling, stabilizer, peep, quiver, everything that you need. It's already on that bow.
And how
I have people who buy and keep those things for 3 years, 4 years, or more. I've got people that are coming with 7-year-old price one bows. Hey, I need a retune. And since that's one of the things that we do, if you buy it there, we'll return your bow as long as you don't touch the rest, as long as you own the bow.
Yeah.
That's my shop does that.
So when you look at that package bow, and if you were to compare that package bow to the 2009 bow of the year, how do they compare?
They're pretty close in performance and speed. Of course, you're going to compare when you buy a high-end bow, you're buying CNC machine versus that one bow that is packaged. It's a forged bow. It's so basically it's not a CNC machine riser, but they do clean them up and they look the same. And they perform, but definitely you're going to notice it. Once you go up, you're going to notice it on the feel of the bow.
Right.
The vibration amount, the speed increases, and in the cam, the cycle, the draw cycle, you're going to feel it on all of that.
But what once was the premium bow can now be purchased at a much more affordable price and still shoot just fine. You don't have to have the top shelf bow to be able to get yourself out in the woods and get yourself hunting, get yourself target shooting.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, before we go to break, hunting, I don't recommend somebody hunt until you go to a 3D archery shoot. When I was shooting targets.
Or practice shooting on a target yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shooting targets, and I got pretty good at shooting targets. When I went and started going to Melbourne, to Wickham Park, to the Brevard Archers shoots that they had down there, eye-opener.
Yeah.
I'm not in an open field with a block to shoot at anymore. Now I'm shooting down trails and lanes
and trees
tree limbs, palmetto branches, and ups and downs. There's a little elevation there, so I'm having to real world adjust on the fly to make sure that I don't sling an arrow somewhere off into the woods. I got to hit that foam, and that the first time I went to that, I was like, wow, it was a game changer for me. to put it in a more realistic, real world type setting. And that's when, you want to talk about getting bit by the bug?
That's
Holy
right.
cow.
Lots of fun.
That is when it got me. And I couldn't put the bow down.
And that's what the Total Archery Challenge is that to the 10th.
To the 10th degree. Yeah. I couldn't put the bow down.
Yeah.
It was like an infatuation. You know?
Yeah.
It was interesting. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our 8:30 break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more going on. We've got some new products we're going to be talking about here from Saltwater Assassin when we come back, too. So don't go away. We're going to be right back after these messages. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate y'all tuning in every Saturday morning right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. Wanted to talk a little bit about the Starbright Solutions cleaning segment real quick. Obviously, if you guys and gals have not tried some Starbright products, there's something very, very simple that will immediately get you involved in buying more Starbright products, which is the idea, because we want you to have a clean boat, and a clean boat should not take a long time to clean. So for those of you guys and gals that have never used an instant hull cleaner, you need to check out Starbright's instant hull cleaner. They make it in a liquid formula. They make it in a gel formula. Now, personally, I like the gel formula better. And what I do is, instead of spraying on the hull of the boat, I spray the gel formula onto my deck brush and then go up and down the outside of my boat. And that brown waterline stain that gets on it, that scum line stain that you just can't seem to get off with regular, wash and wax type products, it cleans the boat back to its original color. And so, especially guys that are fishing in the river system, or if you take your boat in freshwater at all, you will see that it will definitely take on a stain, a tannin type of a stain. Get that off of there, make it look pretty again. And the instant hull cleaner gel formula is the way to make it happen. Easiest, in my opinion. So check out that product from Starbright. And then you can see there's a whole bunch of other products that you're going to enjoy, too. Also, I want to let you know this segment of the show is brought to you by Petrucci Insurance. So you guys have all heard me talk about Petrucci. We've got Barrel that's down in the Caribbean right now. It's petering out, but it may rebuild. The second that this thing stops or is no longer a named storm, call Petrucci Insurance. The reason is your homeowner's policies, they won't write anything as long as there's a named storm out there. So take advantage of the window between this storm and hopefully the next one that forms, and call Petrucci and get a rate quote done on your house. It's going to be worth your time. Trust me, because your insurance company is not your friend. They're out there to take your money and not give it back. And if you want to let them just do that, then you just go ahead and keep doing what you're doing and pay your insurance company. But if you want to find out whether or not you got the best policy with the proper coverage at the best price, call Petrucci, 321-632-1200. That's 632-1200, and stop paying too much for insurance today. Tino, you were talking a little bit about the changes in the bows, and you said something interesting during the break. So I'm thinking of my Alpha Max, my 2009 model Alpha Max that I bought. And then we've got a 2024 Redworks RX-8, both made by Hoyt. And you were saying that the technology changes, but the manufacturing
Quality remains the same.
Quality remains the same.
Absolutely. I tell you what, you will feel the difference because, the cams design have evolved to be softer, smoother. But the Alpha Max in 2008 is when I have mine, and it was a game changer. Then,
It was.
My goodness. I switched brands, and forever I've always shot, for competition, I always shot Hoyt.
So what did you shoot before the Alpha Max?
A different brand bow that I was a pro staffer for them. I'm not going to mention names.
Okay.
But
to protect the innocent.
Yeah. But I had three of them, and my pro staffer price was the retail cost of the Alpha Max. So, and then I took it home. And by then, I had become a pro staffer as well pro staffer for Hoyt through another distributor. Anyhow, all I can tell you is that I set up what I already had. I set up this Alpha Max with the same res, same arrow, same release, same sight, same everything. And that's when I noticed that at 50 yards, I can put an arrow 4 out of 5 times. I'll put it 3 times inside the apple and the other 2 touching. And with my old bow, a pipe play was the best I can do, trying as hard as I could. But before then,
so
I
the
didn't know
difference between, let's say, an 8-inch or 9-inch pie plate
down to a
down to
3-inch
the
group,
size
4-inch,
of
3-inch
an
group.
apple
Yeah.
at 50 yards.
Which is, I used an artificial apple, and that's why I use that example.
Right.
I used an artificial apple as my target and put it on my blogs and stuff.
Well, that's kind of interesting that you use something like that because that's the size of a deer heart
as well.
So
not
if
to
you're-
mention it's related to William Tell.
Yeah. But if you're hitting the apple at 50 yards, then you're killing that deer.
Yeah.
You're harvesting that animal, and you're not shooting him in the butt. You're
No.
not shooting him in the horns. You know, I mean, it's
You know,
it's
I'm going to stop you for a
it's
second.
surprising
It
to me
is.
how arrows can not go where you want.
There's
them to
something
go.
I have to say before this ends here, which is time here runs so fast. I don't know what happens to 2 hours. 2 hours never go to run so fast. But anyhow, I was going to make a point that is quite important, and it is there is a lot of information on YouTube, and there's people that they decided they're going to try to design an arrow by adding a bunch of weight to the front, bunch of weight to the arrow, because they decided that they're going to try to shoot animals without really taking a proper shot to just cover 5% of the animal, which be hitting a bone. And they're sacrificing something that we work so hard forever, which is the dynamic flight of an arrow. Yeah. And I mean, technology involved in this. Learn to shoot the bow, be accurate, and make a good placement, and you'll never have to worry too much about hitting any kind of bone or anything like that. Because if you put that arrow and you make it so heavy, let's say you're hunting in Bull Creek in a canopy. Well, your flight just became an arch. You know you're going to have to worry about branches coming down.
Yeah.
And
It's
when
no
you
longer
didn't
a
have
straight
to.
line.
Yeah. What you need to do is take your time to learn to be accurate with your bow. You won't have to change anything. And I'm talking about shooting an elk, shooting a buffalo if you're into that, shooting a musket if you're into that. It'll work just
Some
fine.
guys like to bow hunt rabbits. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a challenge. That's a challenge too.
I've done it, and I've taken it. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the end game is, what the result is.
I want
you want
the
to make
nice
sure you're
fly.
hitting the animal in a proper place to
That's it.
dispatch the animal.
That's it.
Quickly.
That's the ethical thing to do. But you own it to yourself to be accurate with that bow. If you're just wanting to shoot arrows and just throw a rebar on an animal because you didn't take the time to become accurate, I'm sorry, but there's some ethics there that are not
Understood.
Understood.
So let's go back real quick before the next break. This is a Easton arrow that you brought.
That's a full metal jacket, 4 millimeter full metal jacket, which means carbon core, aluminum with carbon core, and it is also match gray. This is 1,000th straightness guarantee when you buy this arrow. The tip, the field tip, as you see there, it's got also a match gray tip in there, and it has a half out, which is that outsert, which now on a 4 millimeter, you can use whatever broadhead you want, the standard thread broadhead,
because
8/32.
Because they extend or expand the diameter right at the very tip of it,
right
where the broadhead or the field tip is going to screw into it.
Correct. And
so the benefit to an aluminum and carbon arrow versus a straight aluminum or straight carbon arrow.
The benefit on aluminum is a little bit of penetration, definitely a lot easier to get in and out of the targets. That's one of the benefits. And the aluminum, the property of the aluminum of being a very stray product. The carbon kind of becomes a four-wheel drive, I call it, because maybe in micro they're a little rougher, but they can still sell you a match grade, which is still guaranteed to be thousands of straightness, but you can't bend it. You will break it before. The weight has nothing really to do with, like I said, it's all on the spine. They tend to be lighter. Same spine of a full metal jacket, compare two same spines, yet the full metal jacket is going to be a little heavier. But there's no major hindering there.
Yeah.
Once you sight in, and your paradox will be what it is for you.
Gotcha.
So absolutely a better product a little bit.
So we've got 15 minutes left in the show, 13 minutes left in the show. One hint for one of the viewers out there, or even listeners,
I'm just going to tell you what
this
it is.
thing is.
I'm going to tell you what it is because obviously we didn't get the call. Nobody knew what
And
it
then
is.
I get the light, right? It's worth a shot, right? It's worth a try, right? Hey, all you can say is no.
So I cover this because I know that you guys have Facebook, and it actually says it on the product here. So go ahead and read it for all of us, and you can see it.
What's it say, Paul?
It is
Spine spin, Ace spine. Spin
Ace
tester.
happens to be a brand, but it's a spine tester.
Okay.
This is how we can figure out the flex on the arrow, so you can test the spine. And this is the tool that there are some Korean-made arrows. They advertise double spine back in the day, and they charge actually a lot more than a full metal jacket, which is something to say there.
Right.
And we've proven that it was pure advertisement and not truth in it at all.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
I'm a big pusher and believer of American products. I try to sell as much as I can out of my property, out of my shop. This is one of them. They've been in the business for so long. Since the 1920s, the family's been into archery, the Easton family. Archery is just one of the things. I mean, they do baseball.
I was going to say, they make a heck of a baseball bat.
Hockeys,
Yeah.
hockey stuff, tents, military equipment, and aluminum.
So you can test the spine of an arrow to see if a customer comes in and you look
No,
at his...
I don't do this for the customer. This
Oh,
is
okay.
something, but
Okay.
if they wanted to, we can go ahead and test the spine as to, this was used more in the recurve days when we used to have to make our arrows for recurves out of cedar.
Right, out of wood.
Very important to know because you'll have 10 sticks, the same bundle, and they'll have different spines. So you have to work with it, cut it here, cut it there, and this is where you come and try to get that spine as even as possible across the dozen arrows.
Gotcha.
So that's what it is, a spine tester.
Spine
And
tester.
as you put it in there and do the flex, this needle will pull up and let you know where it is. And as you can see, here it is, 200, 300, 400, 500. And that would be the spine that today, this happens to be a 400. So this baby would be right here. And just an interesting thing. Truthfully, I don't use it much. But at one point,
At one point in
was
time
a
you
tool
did, yeah.
that I did.
Interesting.
And that's correct. That's correct. And that's where you start, you put a certain amount of weight on it, and it tells you right there as to where it's at.
Gotcha.
So anyhow, I just thought it's been sitting a while. I'm going to bring it and let people see it a
well,
little
guys
bit.
and gals, we're going to take our last break of the day. We got some new products I'm going to pull out of the packages here, and we'll be right back, so don't go away. Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. I'm Captain Jim Ross. If you're just tuning the show, you've missed a great 2 hours previous to what you're just tuning into. Tino from All About Archery is in with me today. I just got a brand new box. Robin Shiver up at Assassin called me the other day, and he goes, hey, I just made something, and you're going to want to see this. So I'm like, all right, well, tell me all about it. So he says, the Artemis Shad is a new product that they came out with, a 5-inch swim bait. That for those of you that can see it on the Facebook page, this is it here. They came out with this new pilchard color, and basically they took sort of an Arkansas glow goldish kind of a color, and they put a smoke over the top of it. And this thing looks like a pilchard. I have never seen a color that more properly represents a pilchard or a greenie in the water than this. So we've got it in the Artemis shad. It's got a clear belly with some silver flake in it, and that's a 5-inch bait. Put that on a jig head. We have it in the 4-inch regular sea shad as well, which is probably going to do the majority of my work. And then we have it in the little P&V, which is a little dart bait. This is the guys that are doing the forward-facing sonar stuff for the bass are apparently doing really good on this. He brought it out in that particular bait first, but I think that for a dart-style bait for trout, redfish, snook, and tarpon, I can't wait to get this thing out on the water next week, because I really feel like this is going to be a game changer in the artificial lure color spectrum. And then last but not least, Tino's got one over there that I pulled out. There's one called Slammin' Shad. And so this one has become a very popular color lately. It's sort of a pearlescent color, and it has micro silver and micro gold flake in it. So it's a really, really good color for multiple colors of water, clear water or stained water. For some reason, this has been out for about a month and a half, 2 months now, and the guys that are using this are saying that they're doing really good. So I'm looking forward to getting that particular color out as well. So anyway, the new pilchard color from Assassin and the new Slammin' Shad color from Assassin, really excited to give these a try. I'll give you guys some follow-up on them, but I won't be out on the water till Monday to check it out. So really excited about them, though. You can get them in bassassassin.com. Just go straight to the website. They just got done running these on Wednesday, and he shipped them out that afternoon. I got them Friday so that I could bring them in here to show you guys and gals. But this is going to be, I think, a really, really exciting bait for me, because it looks so realistic that I think the fish are going to just jump all over that. So anyway, want to let you guys and gals know about these things. Tino, we've only got 2 or 3 minutes left.
I know, like I said, it flies. 2
hours does fly by, doesn't it?
Yes.
Guys and gals need to get to your shop quickly.
Yeah. Make sure that you're there, please, before the end of August.
Check your tune.
Yeah.
If you need some new arrows, get them cut to length and properly set up for your bow. The nice thing about your shop is it's not just a walk in and buy something and walk out kind of a shop. You get to walk out back and shoot the product and see if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing for you, because you've got a target set up out back. So you can go out there and let's say somebody's having a particular problem. Oh, I'm shooting right, I'm shooting left, I'm shooting whatever. Yeah. Low, high.
You
get them out back, and you can tighten them right up within just a matter of minutes.
Yeah. Now, don't expect that in September when everybody comes in and wanting to the last minute.
Yeah, that's why you should come now.
Yeah, that's why you need to come now.
Now, you're open what?
I'm open on Mondays and Saturdays and Fridays from 10 to 5, Tuesday through Thursday from 10 to 6.
Okay.
Some Mondays we do close, so just please call to make sure that we're there on Mondays.
And you're always closed on Sunday.
I'm always closed on Sunday. So safe bet, Tuesday through Saturday, we'll be there.
Yeah.
321-622-6888.
And, of course, you can find them on all the socials at
Instagram, All About Archery,
All About
Facebook,
Archery.
All About Archery, LLC. And, absolutely, those are places you can
1
find
minute
us.
left. What is something that you really need to pay attention to? D-strings, cables going bad, regular strings going, or D-loops.
Just pay attention
suppressors.
to any serving separation on your strings. The strings, on average, they last 2 years. Sometimes they go longer, depending on how much you shoot. It's kind of like tires, depending on how much you drive. Yeah. Lots of little details, but the strings, waxing, those are the things that you don't want to go out there and have it blow up on you on the tree stand, because it can hurt you. Besides, you can hurt the bow.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. Even though they dry fire them 1,500 times.
That's not for you to do. That's just to get.
That's not something that you want to be doing.
Right.
So,
right.
Hopefully, you guys and gals have a safe and uneventful the rest of the 4th of July weekend here. We appreciate you guys and gals tuning in every Saturday to catch a Memory Outdoors, and I appreciate Tino for coming in.
Thank you for having
giving
me.
us all of this great information this week. Hopefully, you guys and gals are going to get out there and do what he and I are going to do, and that is catch yourselves a memory.